In today's episode of Dave Makes Food, we're going to be going on a short food tour in Aomori, Japan, which includes my first visit to an Obanzai restaurant, 2 insanely spicy bowls of ramen, and some authentic Korean barbecue. This video is a little bit out of order, but I told a couple nice people that I'd release this video soon, so here it is. Our journey starts out with a quick Shinkansen ride from Hakodate to Aomori. I bought some Matsume Jukei chips to try. Matsume Jukei being a famous sweet and savory Hokkaido pickle containing kazunoko or herring roe. They tasted the same as shrimp chips, just with some added sweetness, so they were pretty good. We will be staying at a super hotel for this short trip. For lunch, I headed to a restaurant called Jukei. This is apparently the Japanese translation for Chongqing, a city in China known for its spicy food. It's also the birthplace of hot pot, my favorite food in the world. After a short wait, I entered the restaurant and asked the server what the spiciest option would be, and she said it was the Bangbang Ramen, so I went with that. And very shortly after, she dropped off the most vibrant, fiery red bowl of noodles I've ever seen. The broth was savory with a mild sweetness and an extremely deep and rich roasted chili and garlic flavor. It wasn't nearly as spicy as the color made it look. While still relatively spicy, it was much more fragrant and flavorful. It was an incredibly well put together broth, extremely delicious. There were also bamboo shoots, which added a fresh, crunchy texture, as well as some tender and flavorful pieces of dark meat chicken. And everything was on top of medium thick wavy noodles. As you can see by the color of the noodles, they held the sauce extremely well. A little bit of vinegar helped to contrast the richness from the chili oil, as well as balance out the other flavors. This was an outstanding bowl of spicy noodles. There was such a rich, complex flavor and fragrance from all the roasted chili, garlic, and sesame seeds. The noodles also came with a little dessert. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was slightly sweet, cold, fruity, and a perfect end to a delicious spicy bowl of noodles. I highly recommend Jukei if you visit Aomori. For dinner, I decided to try out a highly rated Obanzai restaurant. I quickly looked up what an Obanzai restaurant was, and it told me it's a dining style originating from Kyoto that utilizes fresh and seasonal ingredients, preparing them with minimal oil and seasoning to highlight their quality and natural flavors. It has an emphasis on using all parts of the ingredients and is generally made up of many dishes similar to tapas. After reading that and entering the restaurant, I still wasn't exactly sure what to expect, but it was explained to me that there was no menu. I was asked what type of flavors I enjoy, and the chef began to hand me small dishes. There was only one employee, by the way. She was the chef, server, hostess, and bartender. It was amazing. The first dish was braised herring and negi. Immediately I could tell this was made with an extreme amount of care and skill. since when you braise fish, the skin becomes so delicate and fragile, and the appearance on this was still absolutely perfect.
すごい DJ
DJ はい。YouTube 映画作ります。
おー
It was braised in a light dashi broth with a very mild sweet soy seasoning.
わあ、めっちゃ美味しい。
The herring was tender with a pleasant fish flavor, and the negi added a fresh, crisp element. It was an excellent first dish.
ありがとうございます。
豆腐とネギ、ネギのタレ。ネギのタレは何て言いますか？
大丈夫日本語って分かる
あ、そっか。
ネギ
ネギ。
あ、すみません、名前は
モロヘイヤ。
モロヘイヤ。
The Moroheiya had a healthy green flavor and was seasoned with ume. The texture was very similar to okra, and the shaved bonito added an additional smoked flavor. The myoga had a firm, crisp texture and was pickled with a strong, salty, sour flavor, which went very well with the natural, fresh floral taste.
スキーはスキースキーする青森の方が違う
And in no time, I had about 10 different small dishes in front of me. The ribs were boiled tender while still maintaining a soft chewiness.
肉はスーパー美味しい。
スーパー美味しい。
They had a very mild sweet soy flavor, much lighter than I was expecting, which allowed the clean flavor of the pork to really shine through.
辛いのも大丈夫なの？
大丈夫じゃないけれども大丈夫
大丈夫。
いやもうアサリムービー YouTube
For sure.
waiting
100%.
ラーメン、口に入れるとき勢いよく吸っちゃダメ。
だから調子いいのため普通に言えばいいの。なんなのそれ
危ない。
危ない。すすったらズルズル危ない。ゆっくり
デンジャーよ
スローリー食べて。
危ないよ
ズルズル
バーッレバー
鼻からラーメン鼻からラーメンなんていうの？好き嫌いないんだね、日本料理。大体大丈夫なんだ。
Shiokara is still definitely not my favorite, but I didn't want to waste any food since that was one of the key points of Obanzai cooking. Next, she delivered tofu topped with her homemade chili condiment containing koji and soy.
美味しい？
ちょっとね、麹がちょっと足りないのかな、あっちと違って。辛さが、すごいよ。カクテル。
And it was extremely delicious. Salty and spicy with a very fragrant chili and tons of umami from the koji. There was no sweetness, which I appreciated, and it had a flavor that was very similar to non-ben miso, except more spicy with more umami. It was a phenomenal chili sauce.
すごいよ。
そっか。
うまい。
あるんだもんね、必ずね。なんだろう、食べ物よりも多分家族巻き込のせいどころ巻き込。
I ate, drank, relaxed, and talked for about 2 hours, and this was an absolutely outstanding meal and experience overall. For me personally, this is my ideal type of dining. Many different dishes utilizing fresh and seasonal ingredients, all with different flavors and textures in a relaxed environment with unlimited drinks, of course. I also really loved the style of upscale home cooking with minimal oil. The flavors were so vibrant and everything felt so healthy to eat. I especially enjoyed the herring, myoga, bamboo, moroheiya, braised ribs, and her homemade Koji chili sauce. But honestly, every dish was well thought out and executed. The textures, flavors, and seasonings were all fantastic. And for 2,000 yen, the food was an unbelievable deal. And along with the amazing food, the chef, hostess, bartender, server, and other guests at the bar made it an incredibly fun and memorable experience. I hope they enjoy watching this video. Alright, a quick review of Super Hotel, which came with an included breakfast buffet. And obviously there's no premium items, but it's real cooking, and for a free buffet the selection was excellent. On top of that, the room was extremely comfortable, and it had a huge work desk which was nice. There's also an open bar each night, and for about 66 Canadian dollars, this was an incredible value hotel. After hearing about some insanely spicy noodles the previous night, I was extremely excited to give them a try. I headed to Asari, a well-known noodle shop famous for their spicy Negi ramen. But it turned out they were unexpectedly closed. And this was terrible news, since I really wanted to try these maximum spicy noodles, but it was my last day in Aomori. So I did what any sensible person would do. I went back to the hotel and booked the room for an extra night, just for another chance at these dangerous noodles. Later I went out for dinner to a highly rated Korean barbecue restaurant. They offered 2 different types of pork barbecue, shoulder and belly. I went with shoulder. 3 different types of namul were delivered first: spinach, mushroom, and bean sprouts. They were all seasoned the same way, with sesame oil and salt, and were very delicious. Shortly after, my barbecue arrived, but surprisingly cooked. I guess they only turn on the table grill for orders of 2 or more, but nevertheless, it looked and smelled delicious. The set came with lettuce, pork shoulder, bean sprouts, and other grilled vegetables, as well as samjang, salt, and sesame oil. This was perfect for me since sams are my favorite way to eat Korean barbecue anyway. And these were extremely delicious. Lean tender pork, crisp lettuce, vegetables, and pungent and fragrant samjang. A perfect combination of flavors and textures. I also ordered some bibimbap noodles, which came topped with half a boiled egg and plenty of pickled daikon radish. The starch noodles were extremely chewy and coated with a sweet, salty, and spicy chili sauce. It was a little bit sweeter than I would have preferred, but these were some outrageously flavorful and fantastic noodles overall. The pickled radish added a sour element, as well as a crunchy texture, and the egg helped to mellow out the bold flavor of the sauce. This was some excellent, authentic Korean barbecue, and I'd like to come back and try it with the table grill, but let's move on to the spicy noodles I had heard so much about the previous night. The website said it opened at 10:30, but when I arrived a few minutes early, the restaurant was already full with a line out the door, so I guess it opened earlier. But after about a 20-minute wait, I was led inside to the counter, and I had already done my research, so I knew I wanted Negi ramen, spice level 1. The server lady warned me that it would be way too spicy and said if it's your first time, you definitely shouldn't get level 1. I also remembered my friend from the Obanzai restaurant saying that my food would reverse if I tried level 1. So obviously I ordered level 1 and assured her in broken Japanese it would be fine. Now I'm pretty good with spice, but I actually got nervous because the gentleman to my left was sweating so profusely, more than anyone I'd ever seen at any restaurant. Every 2 to 3 bites, his face and entire head and neck area would be covered in sweat, and it looked like he just finished running a marathon. He had actually brought his own face towel to wipe himself off every few bites. I asked him if he ordered spice level 1, and he kind of chuckled and said, "No, this is number 4. In fact, the only spice level being ordered by the other customers seemed to be level 4. I had a front row counter seat, so I was watching the chef, and he was preparing every bowl of noodles one by one, so it was pretty easy to figure out how the spice system worked. The main difference was the amount of chili oil he put into each bowl. He had a measuring glass that was about 200 milliliters, and for every spice level 4 order, he was putting in about a quarter of that glass. And then when I saw him making my order, he poured in the whole cup. So I guess spice level 2 would have been half a cup, 3 a third, and so on. He also put a lot more chili powder and black pepper into my bowl, which I appreciated. And when it arrived, it looked a little bit spicier than the rest, to say the least. There was some thick cut chashu and negi that were heavily coated with black pepper, chili powder, and a pool of chili oil. It gave off an insanely deep, roasted chili fragrance that smelled delicious to me, but everyone around me started to cough uncontrollably. The wavy noodles were absolutely coated in a dark chili oil, which had an unbelievably fragrant and savory roasted flavor. The initial taste really reminded me of the sweet, savory, and spicy profile of Buldak 2X noodles with a deeper flavor and no chemical taste. It was extremely delicious. And just like the previous spicy bowl of ramen, the chili oil was very fragrant and flavorful, as well as being spicy. They both managed to create such an addicting level of spiciness. The flavor was so delicious that you wanted to keep eating it, regardless of the spice. The chashu was absolutely coated in pepper and chili, which added even more spicy savoriness. It was tender and flavorful, with a medium fattiness level, but I mean there was so much chili oil that concerning yourself with the amount of fat on the pork would have been crazy. There was absolutely no moderation in this bowl whatsoever. Maximum spice, maximum flavor, maximum pepper, and maximum oil. This was probably the first time in my life I've ever thought, I don't need any more black pepper in this bite, and I really appreciated that. A few scoops of garlic made the oil even more fragrant and delicious. This was easily one of the most addicting flavors I've ever eaten. Even though there was an outrageously unhealthy amount of chili oil, I couldn't stop eating it. Even though the broth was mostly oil, it still tasted incredibly delicious, and I wanted to finish it, but there was probably about 2,000 calories of chili oil alone, so I didn't. If you enjoy spicy food, this is another must-try bowl of noodles. And even if you don't, this is still probably a must-try bowl of noodles. And that was the end of my short visit to Aomori. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the food in this video and which restaurants you'd like to try the most. My food adventure in Japan will continue soon. Thanks for watching.